They stayed kneeling together like that for a long time, until Mark let go of Jay and talked to him slowly, gently.
"Where are the keys, Jay?" "What keys?" "For Felicity. We need to let her go."
Without resistance, Jay reached into his pocket and handed Mark his key ring, on which the small handcuff key dangled. Mark stood up and set me free, while Jay stayed on the floor with his face in his hands.
"Go and wash the petrol off,"
Mark told me.
"I'll deal with Jay."
I ran into the bathroom, stripping my clothes off on the bath mat and shaking as I cleaned myself with water so hot it burned. I shampooed my hair 3 times and sluiced the petrol from my skin. It became too much to stay stood up, so I dropped to my knees in the bath and tried to take slow, calming breaths. Instead, I just started to retch, and I felt like I was going to collapse. I was still in this state when Mark knocked on the door and then came in to check on me.
"It's over,"
he said, reaching across to turn the shower off.
"Jay's not going to hurt you anymore."
"What do you mean?"
"I've talked to him. He's going to leave you alone."
"And you believe him?" Mark handed me a towel, then he sat on the edge of the bath while I stood up and dried myself.
"Felicity, you remember I told you where we are?"
"Yes."
"I'm going to take Jay to Sammie's grave now. I'm going to try to help him say goodbye to her properly."
I didn't answer, and Mark continued.
I want you to come with us."
"No," I said. "Why would I?"
"Let me look after you,"
Mark said.
"Not forever if you don't want to, but you can stay with me until you get yourself sorted."
He reached out to my face.
I really do love you, you know,"
he said. I looked at him, and then I nodded. I stepped out of the bath, feeling strange and hollow. Mark went back into the bedroom, but I thought twice about following. I needed some clean clothes, and that's where they were, but I didn't want to see Jay. I didn't want to put myself at any further risk from him. Tentatively, I left the bathroom and peeked around the bedroom door, where I saw Mark helping Jay unsteadily to his feet. He seemed dazed. He let Mark lead him out of the room straight past me, so I went inside and found myself something to wear. They were waiting by the door as I came downstairs, and I followed after them as they left, amazed at what an odd pair they looked, Mark encouraging Jay along like he was a child. For the whole journey I followed several paces behind them, my hand on my bump. At one point Mark stopped and came to speak to me.
"It'll be over soon, Felicity," he said. "After this, I'll take you away from here."
I nodded, and when he started walking again, I continued to follow them. I felt like a sort of strange, dazed, shuffling creature, blinking in the sunlight. Jay didn't look at me once. We didn't stop again until we were in a little clearing in the thick of the woods, way off the well-trodden paths. And though to me it didn't look much different to anywhere else, it was clear from the look on both men's faces that we'd arrived, though how they each reacted was in stark contrast. While Mark looked solemn and serious, but still self-contained, Jay went to pieces. His face turned to a sickly white, and his step slowed to the point where it looked like it was an intense physical effort to make his body move. He was visibly shaking. I didn't think I'd ever seen anybody in such a state of horror. He dropped to his knees in front of a big dead tree trunk, furry with moss and draped in mustard yellow fungus. "Is that," I whispered to Mark, "is that where she—" Mark nodded. Jay placed one hand flat on the earth in front of him, and for a second I thought he was really going to say goodbye. But then he was suddenly on his feet.
"Why did you bring me here?"
he asked Mark. Mark stepped towards him.
"Jay," he said softly, "it's over. You need to accept she's gone, and let Felicity go."
Jay looked at me.
"She means nothing to me," he said. "You're welcome to her."
Mark tried to touch Jay's arm, but he stepped away from him.
"She means nothing to me," he said again. "She never did. None of them ever do." "Jay," Mark said, let's say goodbye to Sammie now. We can do it together."
Mark helped Jay to kneel down on the ground again, and he was about to speak, but before he could get any words out, Jay began to cry.
You wouldn't even let me dress her,
Jay said.
You wouldn't even let her have her dressing gown on.